So, with honey, and you're making out when the phone rings. Ooh, answer it, and the voice is...
What you doing with my daughter?
Ooh, tell girl, and she say...
My dad is dead.
Then
Who was phone? Welcome to the Spoops Podcast, the premier spot on the internet for failed horror of all genres and types. Here we celebrate all the things that tried to be scary but didn't quite hit the mark.
I feel like that describes me in most facets. Tried to be something but just missed the mark.
And where elsewhere, the people who make these might be mocked or scorned. Here we just celebrate the mess of people trying to learn the craft.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, there's no hate. There's only joy, only love, and just a slight bit of maybe you could have done this better.
Right. Well, no, we always offer a helpful critique.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Sure. 100% of the time. Don't worry about it. Do not fact check that.
I think we should get started.
Well, actually, first, Bradley, I think maybe we should run through a bit of our plugs here, because here at the start of the podcast, I am so excited to tell you that we hit our first milestone and goal. That's right. We said that after we hit 15 downloads, listens across all of our platforms, we'd play Sonic.exe, which means that we have done that, and that video is coming along here soon.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Yes, we're going to watch Bradley and I play a relic from when I was in high school. The question is if people even remember what that is anymore.
I don't, and I'm terrified.
To be fair for Bradley, this is an embarrassing confession. I watched this when it came out. I was in college. I had an anxiety attack so bad that I didn't sleep until 4 o'clock in the morning. And you're going to watch me play this game. You're going to be like, Josh, I don't understand what's so scary about this game. I can't answer that. Neither can I. But let's just say that I haven't played a Sonic game since Sonic.exe, and it has been 11 years.
Oh, man.
To be fair, I didn't like Sonic to begin with.
That's amazing. Do we want to talk about our other goals right
Yes,
now?
that's right.
Yeah.
So we're continuing to push onwards and upwards. So first off, I do have to plug this. The best way to enjoy the Spoops podcast is at our website, TheSpoopsPod.com. It is a beautiful website designed by a beautiful website-making website. I will not say its name until it gives me money and a sponsorship. You know what you are, round area. But you will give me my money for my sponsorship. Dang it. Anyway, you sponsor every other podcast. You can sponsor ours. Okay, sorry. I'm done. I'm done venting. So anyway, that's the best place to enjoy it.
It allows you to comment there. You can comment to us. We're always looking forward to if you want to take any of these, edit them, send it to us.
Right. We're going to be including one story from each podcast in the blog, so that we'll be running a competition. So you can take that story and you can rework it, and the one that we think reworks the story per podcast the best, we'll read aloud so that people can see what you guys did with it. I'm excited for it. Also, never forget, we are doing podcast watching parties. So if you can get 4 more friends together and watch the show all together, Bradley and I will make you a personalized intro where we greet all of your friends and we welcome you into the Spoop space.
Absolutely.
I don't like the way that I phrased that.
Going further still, going back into the views, downloads, listens, when we reach 50, when we reach 50, we will allow...
we're going to let you guys vote on our Facebook for the story that you want us to read the most. Exactly. And we will read it.
Yes.
I'm not saying that we won't censor out large portions of it, but we will read it.
Indeed. After that, we have our 100 view, listen, download goal, which is my personal favorite. Again, taking to Facebook to get a vote on which spoopy story you would like us to live
Reenact. Yeah. No.
We might have to bring our wives in on this to like play all the characters. I think they'll love that.
Yes. Absolutely. No, absolutely. My wife will not appear. I'll just tell you now.
She will be the unnamed.
If my marriage was contingent upon it, I'd be divorced.
What if we need a character in an all black morph suit? Something.
Absolutely not. Again, no. You fail to understand. She's allergic to the camera. That's why she's always using the camera.
Well, what if we have her be camera person? Like, what if we need
that? Would be fine.
Yeah, like her to follow somebody rolling down a hill or something.
She would have fun with that. She will not be on camera. So anyway, yes, we will reenact one of your favorite stories, and. You know what? That one is going to be fun. The one that I'm the most excited about, of course, is the 500 goal, where we do a live and not live.
Not live. That would be insane.
We're going to do an investigation for the Waterford Sheep Squatch, and we are going to make a mini documentary about the Waterford Sheep Squatch, and we are going to go ahead and produce that at 500 views.
Yeah.
500 episodes. That would be like 9 years from now.
I mean, hopefully we're still around
well,
here.
Yeah,
500
that would be lovely.
That'd be delightful.
That would be.
But yes, our current goal for right now is that our current goal that we are working on is the 50 listens. And at 50 listens, you guys get to pick the story and we'll read it.
Absolutely. And you can find that poll when that does become available on our Facebook, which is
The Spoops Podcast.
The Spoops Podcast. Couldn't remember if it was a full word or the Spoops POD.
The Spoops Pod. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the real question is, will I ever be able to find it on YouTube? Because every time there's another YouTube channel called Spoops, which is filled with very questionable content. Spoops.
Yeah.
Well,
it's fine. The more we do, the more we'll rise. Anyways, so let's get.
I'm going to read first this time.
I'm A-okay with that.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
before we read, I think we need to touch on two very important things. One, we pull all of this from, all the stories come from the
Trollpasta wiki, which again we specify because as long as we mention where it comes from, we have legal rights to read it.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to go through our rating.
Yes.
Our 5-point rating scale.
Absolutely.
Which one is
Creepy.
2 is
spoopy.
3.
2 spoopy.
4.
Spooky.
And 5.
Too spooky for me.
And so, yeah, we'll get into that as we go forward, but just want to iron those out before you kick us off with Tails doll will kill you if you click this. Oh, boy.
it's really quite on the nose.
Okay. Tails doll will kill you if you click this. One of the computers in the library at my old school had a haunted link shortcut on the Google homepage titled, Tails doll will kill you if you click this. Now, I played Sonic R and I thought Tails doll was creepy as heck. I've seen someone click on the shortcut and it takes you to a blinding image of the Tails doll alongside an error message saying tailsdoll.exe has stopped responding, even though there isn't a file on the computer named tailsdoll.exe. I saw the kid that had clicked on it. He told the librarian, but when she checked on it, there was nothing there. I didn't see him at all the next day. And 2 days later, I saw a news report saying that the kid had gone missing from his bedroom at 9:30 p.m. There were muddy footsteps leading into the bedroom, and there was blood on his sheets. The day after that, I saw another news report saying that the kid was found dead in the creek next to my house. His stomach had been ripped open, and his arms were gone. They said that he had found a Tails doll plushie nearby the creek and had blood on it, but somehow they denied that it had murdered the kid. One day in the library, I was curious about that link, so I told one of my friends and told him not to click on it. But the librarian had overheard us and led us over to a private area to tell us something. She said that 2 years ago, she found a bloody Tails doll plushie in the room that we were sitting in. But the exact next day, it was gone. and the exact link was found on the computer. She had also said that there was a file titled talesdoll.exe, that it had appeared on the hidden folder on the desktop before the day it had disappeared. The librarian said never to click on the shortcut link, or else you'll be murdered by the Tales doll too. I can still remember that URL said https:// he is coming for you. You help me. You will die. You will die. You will die. You will die. I'm coming for you. Every time I do search it, it says the URL has been deleted by a source named talesdoll.exe. The other day I had searched it up and I saw the source name. I had memories of what happened to that kid. Ellipses. Isn't that a delightful story, Bradley?
Where's the spooky?
The kid that got murdered, his stomach was ripped open.
And his arm.
His arm.
Yeah, you were generous and you gave them the arms, but no, it just says in his arm, and his arm was gone. Which one? We don't know.
It was his third arm. It was his prosthetic.
Oh,
He just had a disposable ready to go.
well, then,
Okay.
And
Now-
then, they said they had found the Tails doll plushie, but they weren't going to admit it murdered a kid. Really?
I'm just trying to imagine how, if the police chief had done the right thing and had said that the doll had murdered the kid, how that press conference would have went.
Just slams bloody doll on podium. This thing murdered a child.
He just stands up in front of everybody. Yes. Hello. Thank you so much for coming today. I know that you are all deeply upset by this personal tragedy that had affected our neighborhood, our friends, and our family. Today, I'd like to address the concerns that people have said. And yes, we have found the culprit. The culprit has been apprehended and has been arrested and is inside of a Tupperware container inside of storage locker until such time as the doll can stand trial.
Also, the URL doesn't have a .com.
Nope.
I noticed that. Yeah.
No .com, no .org. I was expecting .church because that would have been the most disorienting one inside of there. .pizza or .ninja even.
Also, I love that had appeared on the hidden folder on the desktop before the day it had disappeared.
I gotta say, I spend probably 80% of this time. I spent 20% of the time reading through this story, thinking about getting murdered by a doll, and about 80% of the time picturing the File Explorer window on a PC.
Now, Bradley, as our designated IT specialist here, can you tell me how hidden folders work?
So there are such thing as hidden folders. They do exist. The thing about the hidden folder is if you click on the little checkbox in your view thing that says show hidden folders, they appear.
They just pop up.
They just pop up. Now, they're a little grayed out, but they're still there. So, I'm not going to fault the kid in elementary school for not knowing that, a hidden folder may have been somewhere because, yeah, they are hidden for a reason because normally that's where you're more sensitive data that is required to run your computer is hidden.
Right.
So you don't have people just deleting it.
Right. Now, this is I suppose an important question that I've never thought about before, but school librarians, right? They must live a dangerous and sordid life because they walk into their school library one day and they see a bloody doll sitting there and they don't report it to the police.
No, they're just
they don't do anything like
well-
that. No, because they just know that doll is haunted.
Yeah. Well, that's weird.
Geez, Margaret, another haunted doll. And then
Another.
you've got to, each kid that comes in and you're listening to their stories and you're like, Tails doll? Is that a Tails doll story that I hear you telling? I need to tell you something very important about this Tails doll. If you click on the link, it will kill you, so please don't click on that link.
Remember when you and your buddy were here a while ago and I let you guys leave and told you that I didn't see anything? Yeah, no, there was a bloody doll in the corner and I let it murder your friend.
I'd also like to point out that educators by nature are mandated reporters when it comes to anything involving minors.
I want to see that. I want to see that report to Child Protective Services.
The child line page. It's just a picture of a bloody doll.
You know, I will state that, you know, I don't know. I got yelled at for going to YouTube on a school library when I was in high school. They're like,
Bad
you can't
firewalls,
do
man.
that. Well, see, that was the thing because the firewall was blocking HTTP YouTube, but
HTTPS.
but when Google secured YouTube, they secured that site, and so HTTPS colon / YouTube.com was not blocked, and so it wasn't even intentional because it was just auto-directing people to that because that was the secured site.
Right.
And so I just typed in YouTube, hit enter, and it loaded. And I was like, oh, cool. They're being chill and not blocking it anymore. Librarian comes around. How'd you get on there? I can report you for looking on YouTube. And I was like, watch. Goes to Google bar, YouTube, enter, brings up YouTube. I was like, I didn't do nothing.
What do you want from me?
Okay, now, the other thing that I really appreciate about here, one of the comments underneath this on the Trollpasta wiki, my favorite comment from there said, oh, that was really nice of the tailsdoll.exe to go ahead and delete the .exe off of the folder the next day so that nobody else got killed by him.
Yeah, or maybe it was the librarian.
That is conscientious,
Yeah. I see it. The librarian, I don't think has the best students. I don't has the students' best interests at heart. She's just happy that they're getting weeded out one by one. Those little.
You know, I will say this all around kind of. I wish we would have been with the kid when the kid was murdered, or at least kidnapped.
Okay, well, yeah. Obviously, the doll did not rip open.
No.
I'm trying to even if you threw a doll at immense force at somebody's head, it's still just bouncing off, let alone ripping open the stomach.
Yeah, so are we having that one Sonic game where he turned into, a werewolf? Is that the kind of situation where the doll just buffs out, rips open your chest cavity, swims down the river a little bit, and then re-dollifies?
like a very fuzzy Stretch Armstrong.
Now, see,
A furry Stretch Armstrong.
there's no other better kind. Now, the thing that I love is that this is very much Annabelle rules, right? So, Annabelle, obviously, the very famous haunted doll owned by the Warrens, right? It was originally owned by a bunch of college students who were going through nursing school at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And they would say that they were always very nervous about the Annabelle doll because they were worried that the Annabelle doll would kill them, right? Now, it's a Raggedy Ann doll. If you had to pick, the movie Annabelle doll is
Great pick.
It's a creepy doll, right?
A creepy porcelain doll.
This is just a normal Raggedy Ann doll. If you go to the Warrens Museum, it's just a simple Raggedy Ann doll. And all of these warning signs are around it, and it's in its own separate case. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing that I appreciate is, as a youth pastor, as my profession, I would consider it one of my chief duties to make sure that my students' safety is always upheld and cared for, right? I love that this school is just so chill with students dying that they're we know the source of how this person died, but we're not going to put up a warning site. We're not even going to use our firewall to block it. We're just going to be one librarian's going to have a conscious fit and decide
to delete it. Maybe.
I like you, Timmy. You, I'm going to tell. Don't you ever click on this link, ever, ever, ever. Now, they click on the link plenty and nothing else happens. It's just one kid. How do they know it wasn't in a random case?
Yeah, honestly. I will. You know what? Getting back to the ratings, I think I'll give this. I'll give this a 2. I'll give this a spoopy. It would have been better if, like, we would have seen the monster. There is no monster here.
Well, there's a bloody doll.
There's a bloody doll, but a smoking gun does not a killer make.
Yes.
Now, see, I kind of like the fact that you don't see exactly how that person could have been murdered. Because that leaves a lot up to the imagination for what it would have looked like. It's just unfortunate that it's a small stuffed doll.
Well, and I'm not even saying that. I'm saying, like, big scary monster scratching at glass. The last thing the kid hears is like if the kids were neighbors, because since the kid was found in a creek right next to where the other kid grew up, you can assume they're relatively close. The last thing this kid hears is like the scratching on glass and then like a sound of a breaking window and a scream. And then cut to the next day where there's a bloody doll. Then you can kind of be like, ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
It doesn't present the threat well enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I like the fact that you don't see the threat.
Yeah, no.
It leaves more up to the imagination because then it's just, how could this thing have done the killing?
Exactly.
Right? But my problem is that there's no consequences every other time somebody does the same action.
Exactly.
If kids were slowly disappearing one by one because they felt a temptation, started clicking on it, that's something else entirely. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 because it's well above the normal average that we have on this show.
Yeah.
Too spooky.
I can respect that.
It's too spoopy.
Too spoopy.
That's fair. I think I have to agree with Bradley on the 2. I would have liked to see the motivations of the entity at play explored a little bit more. I think that's the real central thing here is we see the murders as being indiscriminate because we don't know why.
I mean, heck,
Why?
even the monster going back in and deleting the Tales.exe file would have just added something.
Yes.
Yeah. The ending, he had, I would say, a good beginning hook to it. Well, okay, he had a mediocre beginning hook to it, but the payoff and the back end of it, he didn't have.
Yes. Yeah, it feels very much so as if Chekhov's target is dead, but we never saw the gun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 2.
Now, just for context, that is what we gave. Oh my gosh, what was the one with the sledgehammer? Silent?
Oh no. Oh, we can't give this the same score as.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think
Maybe
you
that
both.
does
I
bump
think
it to
you
a
both gave 3s, did you give it 2 and I gave it 2 and you gave it 3? Somebody gave it a 3, I thought.
Did I give it a 3? Did I really give it a 3?
I might have given it a 3 because I was feeling generous because there was plenty of threat inside of that story.
Well, see,
of our Bloody Mary Sue.
Yeah, I think like conceptually, story is better. Threat wise, story is not.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
fair.
All right. You know what? I'm sticking with my 3. I feel like 3's fair.
I'm gonna stick with 2.
You've
Okay.
pulled me up to your 3 actually. So, all right. So, gentlemen, you'll notice next to your generally Chia affiliate merchandise, there are cups.
Steven, do you know what this Chia affiliate is?
I do not actually.
That's Richard
Why, this
Simmons,
here.
right?
This here's my favorite childhood idol, Richard Don Simmons.
Okay.
Do you not know who Richard Simmons is?
I do not.
What?
He's too young.
He's too young.
So Richard Simmons is or was actually,
Is.
yeah, he's
He's still
doing
alive.
it.
Don't put him in the
and
grave.
He's still doing the videos. I
Yeah.
think too. He had a show called Sweatin' to the Oldies, and so he basically.
Oh, I do know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about Sweatin'. I did not know the name of.
Yeah.
I can picture.
Come
it.
on, girls, you're worth it. And 2, and 3, and 2, and 3, and here we go. Now,
Yeah, my mother had so many of his tapes of him just in his short shorts and
short shorts, his tank top, not a well-toned chest.
No.
But so much chest hair. And just
Yeah.
like he had gotten out of a bath of grease.
Perfect.
Bath of baby oil. He was just shiny, right?
Toning oil. Yeah.
Every time I saw it as a kid, I was just fascinated. I'd stare at him and I'd be like, who are you and why?
I
He's
too
Bob
strive to
Ro-
be this greased.
He's Bob Ross's creepy uncle.
Yes. So,
Yeah, no joke. Okay.
adjacent though, you will find cups with vanity covers in them.
Am I supposed to try to drink out of the vanity
I would
cup?
like for you to lift the vanity cover. Do not sip yet, but lift.
Okay, well,
This
it's pretty
smells like
clear.
death.
Huh?
This smells like death.
Oh,
That's good. That's a good start. Yeah. First impressions. Tell me what it is you see. Describe for our viewers.
Okay, it's a slight pink,
yeah, slightly pink,
but clear. It has some effervescence to it, some bubbles.
which is better than last week's drink or last time's drink.
We can't blame Monster for us not knowing Monster, but we can blame Steven for not telling us that Rehab had no carbonation.
Is that dragon fruit? It's not
Oh, no.
strawberry.
Oh, my gosh.
Raspberry, maybe?
It's certainly something.
Oh, my-
I'll give you credit. There's two somethings in there that you'll have to pull apart.
Oh, it's so strong in that artificial sweetener
Yeah.
back taste.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, both of the ingredients on this are a 0 calorie, 0 sugar type deal.
Ah, yes.
Okay. Am I picking up some peach here?
You are not.
Okay.
So if you want to,
Is it a berry of some kind?
Oh, wild berry.
neither of.
Really?
There's no berry affiliate in this whatsoever. I'm gonna allow you to take that first cursory sip.
Oh, I've already done that.
Oh, lovely, excellent. And I want you to give them your flavor palette impressions.
Water.
Okay.
Water and
It's a watery version of something.
Yeah.
It's like
It
generic
made my taste buds sweat.
generic fruit. It's like some sort of generic fruit flavor. It's like LaCroix mixed extra.
Yeah. I'm getting very, very like watered down tartness. It's like watery tart.
oh, excellent.
But again, ludicrously strong in the artificial flavor.
Yes.
Backup.
So
Yeah.
I would like for you to give it your spooky rating as well.
A 1. That's a creppy. It's the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Well,
Not true. Actually, verifiably not true.
Well,
You're a youth
so
pastor, we know.
does 1 mean that it's bad, or is 5 bad? Because the fact that these came in red Solo cups covered with black lids.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. That's
That's the
it
default
is-
from now on. By the way, this is the format going forward.
Is it watermelon? Am I?
There is some watermelon in there.
I
I'm
guess,
very
yeah.
proud.
I
Okay,
can see
there's the
that.
generic fruit that
Yeah.
I finally picked up on.
I want to say like grape or something. I don't know.
Watermelon grape.
Wow, it is really startling. I've just taken a sip of each of the components by themselves, and yeah, you're not going to get this. I'm telling you now. Are you ready for the big reveal?
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
reveal
please.
it to us.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to bring them up to you so that you can look at what potentially hazardous ingredients you've just ingested.
Asbestos, I'm assuming. Oh, Canada Dry, don't do me dirty like that.
No.
No. Much worse. For you, sir.
So there's the watermelon.
Okay, grade A quality energy shot.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Watermelon flavored grade A energy shot.
And what he gave me, New Wave soda. You want to guess the flavor? Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Now, so both of these individual ingredients have been collected from and they shall not be named, but a wide retailer that what they do is they collect closeout brands from companies that have since folded.
Here,
It's just everything.
drink
It's-
some cucumber to
everything
wash
bad.
it down.
I challenge you on the energy shot. I challenge you to find anything on that does not look generic or anything that has a trademark on it. It will. There is one. It is difficult.
Okay,
to
that
find.
cucumber's not bad though.
The cucumber, I personally like by itself.
This one has a website at least.
Yes, New Wave has either completely folded or overstocked on the cucumber because, of course, they did.
I don't know what to tell you. It's actually copyrighted, grade A quality.
Yes, that is
It's
the
got
one.
a-
That
it's
is
got
the
a
one
trademark
TM
on
the
it.
bottle. That is the one. That is a concerning moniker, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the format going forward. I am going to take this opportunity to subject you guys to some very strange things. The only reason that I did the mixture of the energy shot today was because of the fact that this is technically a soda and not an energy drink, and I needed to do that to fulfill the criteria of the segment.
Fair enough.
Well, we'll change the criteria so that doesn't happen again.
Perfect. I get exactly what I wanted. And sip and scene.
Ow, 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 ow. Oh, my teeth were too sensitive for that.
I'm going to find a time to put that in.
Okay. So today, I started to do some research, and cryptids come in a couple different categories. Okay, we have like tall tail cryptids, and then we kind of have the bridge between the two, kind of like your Bigfoot, and then you get into straight monsters, kind of like, you have the Loch Ness Monster, or like these really scary things. So I'm gonna take this cryptid segment, and we're gonna go on a nice little journey, because the first one is Old Mossback.
What?
Old Mossback of Lake LaBeouf, to be more specific.
This is
No way. Lake LaBeouf's got its own small.
Yep. So there is actually a Seneca ballad, technically it's a ballad of Old Mossback by James Skiff.
How old is it?
The fish?
The song, the ballad?
Oh gosh, it came out like 18 or early 1900s.
Find out if that's Creative Commons, because we should totally air it.
Well, so I'll read the ballad, or part of the ballad real quick. He was 8 feet long and every inch a fighter, 80 pounds of mean and ornery pike. The Frenchman couldn't catch him, and the Englishman wouldn't try. And the Seneca claimed that fish would never die.
Oh, wow. So this is a big fish.
So this is by James Skiff, whose great-grandfather caught many giant muskies at Lake LaBeouf. So, Chet Seymour, and this all comes from the Historic Waterford website, okay? So
right.
Chet Seymour here is the only man who ever actually hooked Old Mossback and survived to this day to tell about it.
Wow.
Not survived from the fish, it's just everybody else who got him died because of old age.
Well, the way that you did phrase that, I would like to say is legally misleading.
Yes.
So, starting at the beginning, Lake LaBeouf is fed by three main streams. We got LaBeouf Creek, Boyd's Run, and Shaw Run, and it feeds the adjacent Hidden Lake, setting on the edge of Waterford, which is a little town in Pennsylvania. Now, Chet and his brother Ted were fishing between their grandfather Chet Commer's livery and the island. So there's a little island in the middle of this lake. When Old Mossback came up from under his boat, fear set in that boat because they thought it would overturn. Okay, so there are these two men in a canoe with the fear that this fish is going to turn over their boat. Wow. Okay, and this is back in 1930. So when getting interviewed about this, he says that Chet spoke almost reverently about Old Mossback, basically saying that he was too smart to ever get caught. And so this all boils down to this fish. And what's really funny, if you go to the lake, they actually have a plaque for this fish.
No way.
That kind of talks a little bit about it. But this fish is about 8 feet, and they had...
It's not 8 feet.
Yeah, no. I can't get my arms 8 feet. My fish was this big.
It was 8 feet long.
But...
We're calling this 8 feet.
Yeah, the camera adds 6 feet. It was, oh gosh, I can't seem to find exactly what the weightage on it was, but it was around
8 feet long? That's
yeah,
gotta be.
Yeah, it was over 100 pounds of just fish, and apparently strong fish. And people were fishing for this fish all the way up until the 1940s. So there was a good 20, 30 years of people looking for this fish. That was around the time when the French and Englishmen were around. which was
So
in.
this is a resoundingly old fish.
Yes.
Well, the Seneca claim it would never die, and so there are still people to this day that go out on on old mossback hunts on Lake LaBeouf. They will
Wow.
still go out and they will still fish in that area between the island and the one livery, and try to get a glimpse of these monster pikes. And I just find it funny that we are in the 2020s now, the 2020 era, and something that
Can't
was
say the year. That's not legally copyrighted.
really
Yeah. You can say it's 2023.
interesting.
All of a sudden, the police just like burst through the door.
So
How dare you?
Get on the ground.
So this is 2023 when this is recorded. So we're talking about a fish that's like 100 years old, and people are like, "Oh yes, old mossback. I almost had him back in the day." And I find that very intriguing.
Well, it's your granddaddy's fish that got away. It's your daddy's fish that got away. It's your fish that got away.
Oh, yeah.
It's it's your child's.
Well, every fish that got away that made the pool bend a little bit is old mossback.
What do you think the over under is on this actually just being old Greg? Josh, do you know about old
Nope.
Greg? Oh,
No, I don't.
That's React content. There we go.
Okay. Now, one thing I do want to say about this is that, and this has absolutely nothing to do with this. It's just that Stephen was really rude because it says that it was politely caffeinated. And then he dumped in an energy shot into this, so it is certainly not politely caffeinated
Not so
anymore.
polite anymore.
And the new wave soda people, I'm just saying, I think would be offended by the fact that you took their politely caffeinated soda and turned it.
I have rejected their
Into
IP
rude.
and substituted my own.
Yeah,
So I will also state that
sorry,
as
that
I
was just bothering me
No,
all the
you're
way
good.
through.
As we continue on this cryptid journey, this is going to be the only fish one that I include, but in my research for this, well,
Ever?
maybe not ever. There'll probably be some fish adjacent, but like the one that got away stories, I found like for every small lake, there's like at least one story of old blank back. And it's always a moss back, razor back, great back. It's like they're always old blank back.
no, you
White
gotta,
yeah. It's like Moby Dick,
yeah. Now the thing that troubles me so much about old mouseback is that how long is that fish holding still that its back be mossy?
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, and I think-
Rolling stones gather no moss.
Yeah, so I think that is part of the lore is that, this fish who grew to be so old and so big that you would think would need to be eating constantly was able to just avoid being caught because it would just sit.
It's just a bear. It
Yeah.
just hibernates.
It's not a fish, it's a bear.
It's a bear with a breathing tube.
I saw old mossback get out of the lake one day and I came up and found some honey and it started chomping on it.
Walked right to tops and did.
Rocked right up to tops and foraged inside of the trash can on its full big flippers.
Proceeded to put back on a snorkel and climb back into the lake.
Well, now are we talking? Hey, old mossback, that's just Pete. Pete didn't want to pay for housing. Woo! But Pete does love them shiny things. You put anything shiny in front of Pete, he will bite. That's what happened to his first wife.
Too shiny.
She lost a finger. Well, who wants to read this story?
I can absolutely read this story. So we are reading now, Make War, Not Peace.
Can we talk about the image?
Yeah.
Here first.
Hey, I'm just so glad. Sometimes these stories don't come with the props.
Is this a humified Bart Simpson?
Oh, no, this is a hyper-realistic Bart Simpson, which, by the way, that's one thing I love about these bad creepypastas. You get to take a shot for every time they use the phrase hyper-realistic. Hyper-realistic blood, hyper-realistic gore, hyper-realistic graphics.
cool.
Yeah, but anyway.
I don't like how he doesn't have eyes. And why'd they write peace right across his eyes like a bad sunglasses? Like you know the New Year's Eve sunglasses that there's no way people can see out of? That's what that looks like, is that he's got peace sunglasses on.
The years 2000 to 2009 were the most peaceful that they've ever had. And ever since then, they've just been fighting a war.
It will never be the same until the year 3000.
There's the gentle, seemingly never-ending curvature of his lips back all the way to where like the jawbone would be. That's just really seals the deal for me.
Yeah.
And yet, with how wide the mouth is, the corners of the mouth are still imperceptibly far away from the ears.
And where's his bottom lip?
It's there.
It's hidden
somewhere.
underneath a waterfall of blood.
See, I just thought he didn't have a lower lip, or a lower jaw at all. He was just. At first I thought those were just some like really craggy red teeth just jutting down. He didn't actually. He didn't have a bottom jaw. He just went.
Hey, but boys had a great party trick. You put some crumbled down chips up on the table and you just slide your face across it.
Man needs to take a file if those are teeth, man.
File? A file? Who files teeth? That's the most horrifying thing that's ever been said on this podcast. Filing teeth? Oh my word. If I went into the dentist office and they pulled out a nail file, I'm out. I'm done. That idea literally just made me sick to my stomach. I'm going to vomit right now.
Whatever you say.
That's a fairly common concept, actually.
Oh yeah,
Filing teeth?
Oh yeah.
It's fictionally a very common concept, as in like it's been used even in the Hunger Games series. It's a thing.
What?
What's the girl's name? Is it Joriana or something?
Yeah.
She like files her teeth into so they're all canines.
Yeah.
Which they don't do in the movies because that's creepy as heck.
Yeah.
But it's also it's a
What do you do with your molars?
It's a common body mod, actually.
Yeah.
People do this.
Yeah,
it's real.
You can get your teeth filed into points.
Who does that? Why would you do that?
I know who does that. Doctor.
Yeah, doctor would. Oh, that's the grossest thing I've ever heard. What? You've got nerves in there. You got valuable bits where you just ruin your enamel for nothing.
It's just dentin and root left, I think.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, the enamel does not survive the process.
No. Yeah, no, if somebody comes up to me with filed teeth, I'm not going to be scared of them. They're going to come up to me and I'm going to be like, yeah, chew on this apple, sucker. Here, eat this ice cream and enjoy the cold sensitivity.
Okay.
No, real story. If you guys can't tell, I may or may not have some deep-seated fear and anxiety with dentists, right? Well, my teeth were really hurting because they're like super sensitive. So I went to the dentist and I had myself convinced that I needed to have root canals done, right? So I go in and I said, yeah, no, my back teeth are like really cold sensitive. And this new dentist, he looked at his assistant and he was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll need some ice because we'll just put some ice on it and see how cold sensitive it is. I thought he was joking.
Oh my.
I thought he was joking, and then she came in with this little thimble that she unscrewed and pulled out, and there was this long cylindrical tube of ice that he started applying to my teeth. And as each one, I went, ow! He went, your pain seems to be exaggerated. Oh, my pain response seems to be exaggerated. Huh, dentist? Come back here, I'll bite you, and we'll see whose pain response is exaggerated.
Still yours in that case. For, biting people.
Hey, excuse me. I told him I was cold sensitive, and he was like, okay, but how cold sensitive? It's like if you broke your arm and you walked into the doctor's office and you're like, my arm's broken, it real hurts, and I can't move it. And then he started moving your arm like this, and he's like, oh, wow.
Isn't that
Jeez, golly.
Isn't that what happened when they had to redo your stitches? They
Yes.
just moved.
Yes, very much so. So Yeah, very long story, very, very short. I broke a couple of fingers, ironically, at youth group, doing something very stupid. And
I tried to tuck and roll, but forgot to tuck.
yeah, I went to do a little roll, and I didn't do the tuck part at all. It's not even a poorly thing. It's just like my brain went, yeah, you probably don't need to do that. It'll be fine, and it wasn't fine. The first things first, our youth pastor, who's not Josh, we all work at different churches, which is fun. But my youth pastor, who for legal reasons I must say is not Josh, tried to set my fingers. And that was a mildly horrific experience.
Why would he do that?
I believe his exact words were, "I've seen something just like this before. Come over here."
Never trust a redhead.
And I, in all of my shock and lack of self-preservation instinct, said, "Yeah, this seems reasonable. I don't want to go to the hospital." That did not help. So anyway, a couple weeks go by, and I've had surgery to get my fingers put back together, because this is not like a little whoopsie. This is a fairly major whoopsie that's occurred. And within a couple hours of getting home from surgery, I'm sitting on the couch, still doped up on all kinds of medications, and
playing Call of Duty or something.
Right, playing something on the Xbox, and I'm sitting next to my wife, and I just look down at my very, very bandaged hands, and I come to the realization that they probably shouldn't be red, like everywhere, right? I've just had surgery. I don't think I should be like bleeding out at the moment. Go back to the ER. And so they get the bandages off of me and they look at it. And side note, this is apparently a funny phrase among medical professionals. Side note, if you're a medical professional, apparently you're a sadist, because you guys just say this casually.
Get ready for the chuckles.
Apparently the thing they say when people come in bleeding profusely for any reason, the joke that they make is, well, all bleeding stops eventually. Let that sink in for a moment.
Wow. Okay.
And they say this and they don't laugh. Let's be clear. So anyway, they take my bandages off.
Like a dry British humor.
Yes. Yeah, they're dry. I'm not. I'm leaking everywhere. So they take my bandages off, and I'm immediately post-op, and I've just got bleeding like all the way down to my elbow and onto the floor and all kinds of stuff. And they're like, yeah, this is fine. They throw an extra stitch in it. But while they're doing all of this, I'm still numb from my anesthesia and from local anesthetics and all this other stuff, so I don't really care what's going on. And instead of asking me to start like moving my arm into different positions, they just start grabbing me by the fingers that have just had surgery done on them and just swinging me around. Just like, Bradley, can you demonstrate briefly like what I'm kind of like that. Yeah, just by my broken fingers. Just as in like the worst come hither you've ever seen, just like and so I went home and I was in a lot of pain after that. That's kind of the end of the story, actually. But
that was a bad story.
The long story short,
like it.
All bleeding stops eventually.
Well, that would be a great phrase for one of these stories, wouldn't it? That would be a great title for it.
Yeah, that'd be a great catchphrase. All bleeding stops eventually.
She looked at the old man. Knife, letter opener in hand, as she punctured him again and again and again. And he looked down at himself in shock as the pain started to flow through his body. And he tried to hold in the blood. She punctured his hand one time so that he couldn't hold it. And she said, all bleeding stops eventually.
Okay. Anyways, moving on with this episode.
What? Who's doing that?
So this next story we have comes is make war, not peace. So, of course, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Roblox. A colorful, blocky games where people can let their imagination go wild. Well, you may not know this, but there's a rare game made by a disgruntled Roblox intern. The game's thumbnail is a hyper-realistic Bart Simpson with blood gushing out of his head and black eyes. Upon entering the game, you will be taken into a basic house. The game will look normal until you type into the chat, "Make war, not peace." When saying said quote, you will be teleported into a black room with a chair. When sitting on a chair, a cutscene will begin. A police officer will interrogate you about the kidnapping of his daughter. You can type into the chat, "I don't know what you're talking about," or "She is at Route 666 in Missouri." When typing, "She is en Route 666 in Missouri," the officer will leave the room for about 2 minutes before the screen becomes blurry. The character you're playing as will become unconscious. When waking up, you will be in the forest with a sign that says, "Make war, not peace." When typing, "I don't know what you're talking about," the officer will punch you with hyper-realistic blood escaping from your character's mouth. The officer will continue to hit you to the point of the screen turning flesh red. The character will be sent into a room with the man passed out on the floor, lying next to a bottle of pills. The game is highly suggested to be the creator's experience of being arrested for possession of The game is highly suggested to be the creator's experience of being arrested for possession of illegal material and kidnapping. Whatever you do not look for this game.
So, one thing that I feel like prisons don't get enough positive rep for here is that they offer programs to help make people's lives better, right? Like this person who got arrested for kidnapping a police officer's daughter and having illegal drugs went to prison and learned how to video game program so when he came out, he could be a disgruntled Roblox employee. I'm sorry, intern.
Can we also point out, though, there is no way any respectable police chief would let a father work on his daughter's kidnapping.
Well, this is an NCIS episode.
That is the definition of too close.
Right, if you find yourself, I don't know, punching somebody with hyper-realistic blood coming out of their mouth.
Until the screen turns flesh red. Mm-hmm. What is flesh red? Is that sunburn? Like, are we talking the color of sunburn?
I think what I picture is like, the red flash you get on the screen when you get shot in like Doom.
Yeah.
In like the old Doom game. Like, I'm picturing that kind of.
But like with blood veins and like
hyper realistic, whatever that means.
Again. Well, Roblox is not a game that is...
Apparently for the faint of heart. Like, I thought this was just a fun little kid game.
But
I guess I couldn't have been more wrong.
Now, also...
Is it time for me to unearth my secret forbidden Roblox knowledge?
Sure, because I have none.
So, the whole thing with Roblox is that it's basically open code base, so people can just design their own games within it. Like
disgruntled Roblox interns.
Exactly, yeah. Like somebody with way too much time on their hands and not enough income. You can build. There's full clones of entire Call of Duty games on Roblox and stuff like that. Like Minecraft servers are somewhat locked down because of the assets that you can put into the game.
Yeah,
Roblox is not like that. You can port in pretty much whatever you want, which leaves things very open.
Now. In Roblox, can you make it so that people can only type two things inside of a chat room? Because that's what's fascinating to me is how you would know.
I'm assuming that you could type a whole bunch of stuff, but these are the only two things that get a response.
Yeah, it's funny. For a 3D game, this really is just a text adventure, actually.
Yeah.
Now, but a police officer will interrogate you about the kidnapping of his daughter. You can type into the chat, "I don't know what you're talking about," or "She's at Route 666 in Missouri." So while I'm looking at that, it's an either or response.
Yeah.
Like you could type in an apple, but it's not going to do anything. You're just going to start typing in, and then all of a sudden it's going to come up with an I and then a space and then a DONT as just like you randomly mash on it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. That's the only way that language suggests that happens.
It suffers from the common problem of all text-based adventures, where if you don't feed it what it's specifically looking for, your story just halts completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Try key on lock. Try key on door. Try key on your mom.
I turn left. You're facing a wall with no distinguishable features. I turn right. You're facing the same wall you did when you started. There's nothing on it. You're actually just in a box.
Okay.
Man, this cucumber aftertaste is killer.
And
I may go buy another case of that, actually.
okay, so
1.
oh right, yeah, we do have to rate this sucker.
Yeah, 1. Nothing scary happens.
It's based off of a guy's true story of kidnapping
No,
a police officer.
It is highly suggested to be the creator's experience. There is nothing that says based off of a true story. And since I'm assuming when you port to the woods and you see a sign that says make war, not peace, I'm assuming you're seeing that from the police daughter's eyes.
Or your eyes, because a police officer killed you and then took you into the woods to go hide the evidence.
But then you're alive?
He did a bad job killing you.
That or you just got drugged.
Or you just got drugged.
But what police
Or maybe
officer...
your violent god summoned you into the woods
This is actually
through a
just
portal
direct,
of blood.
This is a direct port into Slender, the 8 pages.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, no. Yeah, 1.
I get 1.
I have to give 2 different ratings, actually. So for the audio podcast
He
viewers,
is 2 different people.
I am. I'm actually in the cast of Split. I am 2 of the Splits. I have to give for audio podcast viewers, I have to give it a 1 for the same reasons you guys do. For the video podcast viewers, though, that get to see this cursed, horrible image, I'm giving this a 4.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's going to give me nightmares for years.
Really?
Yes.
I can believe that. Yeah, the image, when actually stared at long enough, does give me the heebie-jeebies.
It's
Yeah.
just
I've got
it's
my
like,
script in dark theme too, which is not helping.
Same.
okay. You know what? Sonic.exe has more disturbing artwork inside of it.
This is why I'm not looking forward to Sonic.exe.
You hit the left button for 5 minutes and then Sonic jumps you and like removes your spine or something. Okay. So, I have been struggling with this part of the show.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's really hard to find it's really hard to document people who believed in urban legends, right?
Yeah.
Like the clown epidemic was fantastic because there was lots of news stories about it and it was recent enough that it was still there. But what happens inside of Google and everything else is that all of those valuable news stories that I'm looking for get shifted down, right? And then I realized
relevancy
something.
of data and stuff.
And then I realized something beautiful. There's a whole subsection of the world who believes in things that normal people don't. And sometimes these things that they believe in are just a little bit funny. That's right, folks. We're talking about conspiracy theories. And inside of this newly christened section where we're talking about conspiracy theories, I thought we'd start off with a classic, the most tinfoil hat of almost all conspiracy theories. Lizard people.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited about this. I am so excited to bring this story to you. Now, do you guys want to take a rough estimate of how many Americans, when surveyed, believe that the government is controlled by shape-shifting, blood-drinking lizard people?
Tell me this at least. Is it a number that's going to make me really sad?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's like 70%.
It's not 70%
Okay.
of the... We're not talking about percentages, okay?
Oh,
We're talking just like a bulk guess.
How many people?
Price is Right rules.
Okay.
Don't go over.
Don't go over. Well, how many people are in the U.S.?
I'm going to say conservatively 3.5 million.
Okay, 3.5 million.
I'll do 3.6.
Darn.
Well, Bradley wins because it's 12 million people in the United States of America, which is roughly 4% of the United States population, believe that the government is actively being controlled by half-reptilian creatures. Yes. No, just,
Cry.
you know somebody. Statistically speaking, 4 out of 100 people in a crowded room believe that the government is being controlled by reptiles, shape-shifting reptiles. Let that sink in.
You can't see it.
Okay?
Tears are leaving my eyes.
I know my person who believes that.
Oh,
Okay, so, yeah. Now, when we get down to the nitty gritty of how this looks, this comes out to one world government kind of stuff all over again,
Yeah.
right? And we'll probably talk more about one world government in more
Bill
specific
Gates and,
detail later. But just know that when you put it inside of a pot and you reduce it down, its essential essence in oil is one world government, right? Now, so basically, since it's a conspiracy theory and nobody has documented proof that there are shape-shifting lizard people, right? There's no real agreed upon definition for any of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right? But you have to shift through the general minutia to find the trend, right? So in this case, this was popularized by famous British footballer David Icke. Now, David Icke is an interesting man, okay? Because at one point in his life, he played sports professionally, okay? And then he developed arthritis and had to retire at the age of 21, okay? That's a tough blow for some people.
Yeah.
Not for David Icke. David Icke goes into politics.
Of course.
Do you know what party he represents inside of the Great British Isles? The Green Party. That's right. He looked at all of the British political people and he said, that's right, me, David Icke, famous footballer, I support the Green Party, until the Green Party kicked him out and banned him from all meetings. Because turns out David Icke, unfortunately, might be suffering from some mental issues. He once
One too many hits on the head.
He once said that he was the son of the Godhead, which is really confusing for me theologically speaking. As a pastor, when you say Godhead, that means of the Trinity. So the whole Trinity came down and I guess triple impregnated a girl, and then that triple embryo merged into David Icke. So he's, I guess, super concentrated divinity wandering around on Earth, right?
Like Tang, still in the powder form.
Right, exactly. And then he eventually got on the train wagon and he started pointing his finger at all of the British nationals who wouldn't believe him and said, they are shape-shifting lizard people, and that is the reason that our political system is corrupt. Now,
Why are you pointing at me when you say
you're a lizard man! That's what I'm getting to. Now,
I always knew he was
let me
scaly.
tell you about your people. Okay? So, now, for this episode, I did watch an episode of Ancient Aliens, which is always such a blessing. Thank you, History Channel, for making those free on YouTube. But
Oh, man.
I watched an episode, and this is the general prevailing theories on how we got reptile people on Earth. Okay? Theory number 1. Aliens came to Earth, and then they offended God so much that God broke their spacecrafts, and they have to live on Earth. Okay? Now, their evidence for this, you may ask? Why, it's the Genesis account, and that there was a snake inside of the garden that talked to people and convinced them to sin, and then God said that you will crawl on your belly for the rest of your life. That is their irrefutable evidence for theory number 1. Okay? That crawl on your belly for the rest of your life means you can't fly your fancy spacecraft anymore.
SpaceX, take notes.
Okay.
Don't offend God.
Theory number 2. They live in the hollow earth beneath us.
This is the one I've heard.
Yeah, now. They live inside of the hollow earth. Now, this is not necessarily devoid of any of the other theories. You can mix and match as we go in here, but they have a whole secret society under earth. Now, Ancient Aliens really wanted you to know that the Navajo believed that lizard people lived in caves in the earth and you could go visit them. This is evidence for theory number 2. Theory number 3 is the favorite thing I've ever written on my favorite word, and the fact that this didn't come up to as a typo is really concerning because dinoroids, dinoroids is not a misspelling. Google Docs accepts that as the correct spelling. Dinoroids, okay? Now, dinoroids, you might be thinking, what are dinoroids? Josh? Well, I'll
What
tell
are
you.
dinoroids, Josh?
What if the dinosaurs didn't die?
Okay.
Dinoroids. Their evidence for this, by the way, fascinating, is they asked a scientist, they didn't cite who, what would have happened if the dinosaurs didn't die? And they said, well, they would have gotten smaller and they would have become more upright, and then they would have gotten smarter and they would have looked like, I don't know, reptilioids.
Dinoroids.
Dinoroids. Now,
They do realize what they're describing is lizards, correct?
no, birds.
Birds.
Birds are the most direct descendants of dinosaurs.
That's fair. That's fair.
Which is proof, somehow,
Dinoroids.
that dinoroids exist.
Well, and can we just take a real brief pause here? Because the way I'm thinking about this makes this 20 times funnier. Because dinosaurs have now been proven to have feathers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So feathered dinosaurs becoming dinoroids would mean that the reptilian people are coated in feathers.
No, they're scaly. This is really important. All the eyewitnesses of them say that they have 3 long fingers and they're scaly, and then they drink human blood and turn into humans.
They've molted.
They've
molted
molted.
their feathers.
Yeah. Now, this is maybe my favorite.
There was a CW Kids show that had, shape-shifting dinosaurs in it. Sounds a lot like this.
Now, hey, it turns out it was a documentary all along. Now,
Biopic.
this is maybe my favorite counter theory, is that maybe dinosaurs evolved on a different planet and then came to here. And finally, the quintessential kiss to the origins of the reptilioids is this. Okay? Ancient people who believe in ancient aliens love to cite the creation myths of early human societies. Amongst them is this claim that a species of God came down to man named I just want to keep saying Agartha, but Agartha's name of the world inside of the world, inside of the hollow earth.
That's also a dimensional title from the Call of Duty franchise, I believe, from the Zombies canon.
It's the Anunnaki. Thank you. Voices inside of my head. So the Anunnaki are reptilian gods who came to the earth, and the proof for this is that the Chinese believe in dragons, semi-divine, and that there are all sorts, in like a Quetzalcoatl, right, is a reptilian godlike being of the Mayan Empire. Anyway, they came to Earth, and then they made humans through forced evolution. And then, to make sure that humans stayed submissive, they made half-breeds between the Anunnaki and the humans. So half reptile, half man.
And to become full man, they drink the blood.
Reptilians. Yes. Now,
This got shockingly dark, shockingly fast.
the reptilians, as I have previously said, they have to drink human blood to
Continue.
to turn into a human. Now, there's no real consensus about whether or not they turn into the human that they drunk the blood of.
Oh.
Maybe they just use it to in their body parses it so that they become a lookalike human, but
Because-
not necessarily the human that.
Yeah, because you'd have to
Replace it.
hook up a human to life support, leave them in a coma, and just constantly be draining that one if that power was limited to drink what you become.
Well, careful now. You're getting dangerously close to just describing the plot mechanics of the Matrix at this point. The human batteries thing.
True. Yeah. Now, see, the thing is that the reptilians, all across human civilization, have infiltrated into every government and every institution that can influence humans. And their whole purpose is to control us and to keep us as sheeple. Now, we're going to play a game, okay? And the game is called Can You Guess the Lizard Man? Can you guess the Lizard Man? I've got 5 different lizard men and women, celebrities, or famous people. It's really just female celebrities and male presidents, because apparently there cannot be. If you're a reptilian as a man, you have to become president. You cannot just settle for being a celebrity. Okay?
Well, yeah, no, because nobody listens to the guys. If that were the case, everybody would be on Scientology by now.
Right. Yeah.
Take that, Tom Cruise.
Okay. So I'm going to read to you 4 different options, and you have to tell me out of those 4 options which one is a reptilian.
Okay, lay it on us.
Which one is the lizard woman? Is it Cher? Is it Zendaya? Is it C, Madonna? Or is it D, Rihanna?
I'm going to say C.
C, Madonna.
Is it all of them? I feel like it's all of them.
There's no E option, all of the above.
I'm going to say it's Zendaya.
The correct option was C, Madonna. 1 point to Bradley.
Figured she had the most pull out of all of them.
That's fair. That's fair. The
2.
most legacy poll.
Exactly.
2. Which one was the lizard president? Is it George Washington? B, Richard Nixon? C, Barack Obama? D, Donald Trump?
I'm going to give it to Tricky Dicky. I'm going to throw that one to B.
I don't think this can be Nixon, because Nixon would be a failed attempt, and that doesn't really coalesce with the one world government thing. I'm going with the Trumpster on this one, I think.
You're both incorrect. The correct answer was C, Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was hoping...
You have to keep in mind who's making these conspiracy theories.
I know, but I want them to, because like you need some failure for something to be believable. So like if, it would just add credit if like, they tried and they failed with Nixon.
Well, but clearly the birth certificate thing is their justification for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. 3. Guess the lizard woman. Is it A, Katy Perry? B, Emma Stone? C, Miley Cyrus? Or D, Sydney Libis?
Miley Cyrus, C.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The correct answer was A, Katy Perry.
Really? Well, I guess, when she's shouting about how they're going to hear her roar.
What does Left Shark think about this, I wonder?
Okay. So now, just to remind you guys of the points, Bradley is in the lead with 1 point.
And I've failed ever since.
Okay. D, can you guess the lizard president? Is it A, Gerald Ford? B, JFK? C, Harry S. Truman? Or D, Bill Clinton?
Bill Clinton. Yeah.
I'm gonna give us a spread here and say I think it's JFK.
The correct answer was D, Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to keep in mind who's making these conspiracy
Well,
theories.
have you ever seen his skin, especially as he gets older? He needs to up his blood supply.
There are a lot of jokes about a particular scandal in the Clinton presidency that I cannot make on this podcast. I just can't.
What about that dress, though?
Okay. Now, to make this last one fair, I'm going to make it 2 points so that Stephen could tie. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
5. Can you guess the lizard woman? Is it A, Jennifer Aniston? B, Angelina Jolie? C, Oprah Winfrey? Or D, Patricia Arquette?
I'm jumping the shark on this one. It's Oprah.
I'm going to say A. I'm going to say Jennifer Aniston.
Both of you are incorrect.
What?
The answer was B, Angelina Jolie.
I would have
Dang it.
sworn it was going to be Oprah.
And that, folks, has been my synopsis of the lizard people.
They are everywhere indeed.
Okay, and now I'm going to read for you 1 cent stories. Oh, wait, before we move on too far. We owe a rating for Old Mossback.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm going to rate it a 3. No, I'm going to rate it a 4 because if I had caught it, I would scream and wet myself because I wouldn't know how to get it off.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you. I'll go 3, but yeah, no, I'd be, well, when you're talking about a fish that can tip a canoe, no, there's no way. Like, I mean, the people who are like, yeah, I caught it and I released it. It's like, how? I would have caught it, screamed, and kicked it in its face.
I'm just worried it would eat me 8 feet long. I'd lose a leg.
That snort has got to be the most horrifying thing I've ever heard, by the way. That's going to live rent-free in my nightmares for a while. I'm going to give this a 3, mainly because I spent most of the time that you described this particular entity to us. I was just picturing old Greg, and we're showing you old Greg. That's not something that is open for debate anymore.
Okay. All right, and now, jumping
lizard
back to the
people.
conspiracy corner with Josh. Lizard people, I'm rating this one a 1. If they're in control, they've already been in control, and I've been fine. Their dark machinations for the Earth have been to just, I guess, keep things running and threaten Cold War for a while.
I was going to say, seeing as how I'm not in any position of power, nor will I be anytime soon, and even if I do get famous because of this podcast, they won't care because they only go for presidents and male presidents. So,
Well, yeah, no, if you're a girl, you would have a worry, but
yeah. Podcasting men are,
Yeah.
they're in the clear. So yeah, no, I'm not overly worried. I'm a 1.
yeah.
Yeah. Believability rating of 5. I am akin to. I am very much so. I am prostrate.
Oh no,
before-
you're a part of the 4%.
I am now. I'm a convert. I am prostrate before our benevolent lizard overlords. Spoop rating though, yeah, 1.
Okay. You know what? For our conspiracy corner, we'll go with believability. I'm still on a 1 inside of this section.
I'd bump up to a 2. I'd bump up to a 2 for believability.
Really? You really would bump that up to a 2 in terms of
lizard
believability? That there is a secret lizard society. Why wouldn't they just declare themselves? If they have been there since the beginning of human history, wouldn't we just always be like, oh yes, look, it's the lizard people. They tell us what to do and we do what they say.
I'm just
Thank
saying,
you, lizard people.
After watching The Silence in Doctor Who, it brings up my believability in secret controlling forces just a scotch.
If they've got the memory control power,
Yeah.
we're done for.
Yeah, we're dead. Well, no, we're alive and living happy, but
Yes.
it's controlled by them.
1 cent computer. As I walked down the street, I found an old garage sale. There was lots of stuff in it, and mostly laptops and stuff, and they were only 1 cent each. And I had $250 in my wallet at the time. So I bought everything, not knowing what was going on. As my neighbor helped me unpack my stuff, one of the laptops turned on, and the neighbor said, "Whoops," and then turned it off, not knowing it was possessed. All the computers were plugged in. Some of the best. My favorites was a HP laptop, an old E-machine, a new Acer, and then the one that I was most happy about, an Alienware laptop. There were hundreds more, but I hadn't plugged them in yet. So I went to bed, forgetting about this exhausting day. 2 hours later, I woke up from a blood-curdling scream. But the strange thing, all the computers were plugged in. All 25,500 computers. All around my house.
This man's got outlets.
He's got outlets for days.
Electric bill. Oh my god.
Woo! The internet speeds.
I'm just picturing like a daisy chain surge protectors all around the house.
It's surge protectors all the way down, surge protectors all the way up. Where do you even put 25,500 inside of an average house? I feel like that would take
Inside
floor
of a
to ceiling.
Well, and not to mention the man was walking down the road and then just carried 25,000.
Well, no, his neighbor helped him.
Unload. His neighbor helped him unload. How did he get him there?
His neighbor
Just like an
apparently
old
owns semis.
tarp. Just an old tarp that he drug it on.
I believe for the electrician viewers, this is gonna get a spooky rating of 5.
Okay, sorry, back into it. Back into the horror. Then I saw blood prints. As I was following them, it led to my porch. Outside, there was the computer dealer's body. There was a letter drawn by blood, and it said, 1 cent is not enough. I was horrified. So I looked for my house phone. It was plugged into the wall. Instead, on the desk. I didn't care. I called 911. Then I got a voice message which said, 1 cent will always pay you back. Then I heard another scream, and it sounded like it was one of my neighbors. So I ran to go get my iPhone 4S. But it was in a Debian-like screen, and it said 1 cent will always watch your back. But then I saw that all my computers were turned on face towards me. Then one of the Acers jumped in front and went to a screen. It looked like it had widgets, like Windows Vista, except it had Windows XP, like Start Menu / Taskbar, later discovered as Windows Longhorn. Then all 25,500 computers swarmed up, all plugged in. Some had card readers, others USBs. Some were Macs, some were Alienware, others were Dell. Then I saw the laptop drag a body corpse, a bloody... Let's drag a body corpse.
Does somebody want to tell the writer that Alienware and Dell are both just Dell?
Don't ruin it for them. Don't ruin it for them. Then I saw a laptop dragging a bloody corpse with its hearts and organs carved out, with flies around the corpse. Then wires started coming out. Then I saw a thumping heart exposed in the E-machine. Then wires started coming up, and an error said, "You're next." Then a picture of a cat that said, "I can has heart, please." The picture had a cat with gray fur, but the poor cat's eyes had blood coming out, and his rib cage was exposed with his heart missing. Also, the Max got the Finder window up with a red Finder, but there was blood pouring out from his nose and mouth. I saw the old E-machine had a picture of a troll that said, "You gutted, bro?" I actually felt sorry for the troll for some reason, because he had spikes separating his lips from his mouth and his brain was exposed. I had tried to run for the door, but the computers had a wall charger which was standing up like a snake. Then the power went out and all the computers moved out of the way as the server dragged itself with blood all over it. A computer tower shot a disk right at me. It missed. After that, my dog came in curious for what was going on. The computer tower shot another disk at its head, and my dog's head got chopped off, and I saw the inside of the dog's heart's last beating. The server then reached in into its cut-off neck and pulled out its heart, then sucked it in. I saw the computers all got blue screens, except for the computers with Linux and Macs. And the computers started to get sparks. And sadly, all my new computers around my house caught fire and exploded. But when I thought it was over, the burnt circuit stood up together and acted like a dog with its sounds, and it tackled me and it said, "1 cent is enough to kill though."
Did you write this?
No.
Is this IT? Is this the IT department nightmare? Is this like?
Well,
That's the theme for this episode, I think.
well, okay.
Bradley's still just coming out of this deep pool of horror that was 25,500 separate computers.
I would just like it to be known that yes, I do run IT. Well, not run, but I'm a part of an IT department that services a college campus. Okay, we as a college campus do not have 25,500 computers. How
many do you have?
If I had to guess, it would probably be somewhere closer to around 10,000.
So this is double that of an entire.
University.
Yeah, if we're talking lab machines, classrooms machines, professor machines, staff machines, yeah, we actually, and that might be, we might only have like 5 to 8. I think 5,000 to 8,000 would be a pretty good rough estimate.
So the raw scope of how much there is almost ununderstandable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is insane the amount of computers. Like
That somebody would look at all of that towering mound of technology and be like, "Yeah, I'll buy it. 1 cent a piece. I got $250 right here."
Well, and that's the thing. It's like the man,
van.
because honestly, like I could understand if he bought 100 laptops for 1 cent a piece. But no, the man literally went, okay, so 1 cent times the 250 I said was in my pocket is this number. That's how many I bought. It's like, bro, you didn't need to spend all your money. It's 1,000's enough to be scary.
And let's talk power consumption for a moment too, because I build computers on the side. It's just part of what I do. I'm also a technical director for a church, so I build some for work. I build some for friends. Gaming machines, office machines, the whole gamut, right? And your average office computer to the wall will pull like 3, maybe 400 watts. A gaming computer under load can pull as much as 1,000 or even like 11 or 1,200 watts these days with like newer like really thirsty hardware. Take that and like average it to like 500 conservatively, and then multiply that by 25,000 machines. You're pulling more than most industrial factories can put out.
I mean, no, it's real simple. What the entity did was it went and it actually just like forced, made it so that the breaker could not trip, and just
I just assumed that it enslaved Ben Franklin, and he's just up there summoning a lightning bolt.
And your computer gets possessed, and your computer gets possessed.
Well, and then where did the server come from?
Yes, that's right. That was my deep Oprah Winfrey, Benjamin Franklin, and Zeus reference all combined into one.
But yeah, so where'd the server come from? Because he buys a whole bunch of laptops, and the server just kind of like, woo.
Maybe he already had the server.
And it became corrupted.
Okay, Bradley, the man bought 25,500 computers. The man is clearly a technology expert.
One of them had to be a server,
Just now. Also, I have lots of questions. Like, first off, some of those computers were battery operated. Not all of them. When the power went out, how are they still operating and moving as one entity?
If they're technically laptops, then the server wouldn't be battery. Well, I guess there would be battery backup in the server in case of power
there were some
outages.
computer towers inside of there.
That's fair. Yeah. Which again, I guess could be plugged into battery backup, but even still, like, going back to that, with the age of these laptops and them sitting outside for a long period of time, those batteries would be drained.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah. So they would either be drained and could barely hold a charge, or old enough that they wouldn't hold a charge. I don't know if anybody has had a laptop for over 5-6 years. But once you get up to around that point and you leave it charged in more often than not, you get to the point where you can't operate it for more than 10 minutes before you have to plug in those thirsty sons of guns.
Yeah?
Yeah, no.
Now,
I was just saying, I'm looking at our producer, who literally has his laptop plugged in
to the wall because it needs to be.
Yeah.
Well, and also, just in there too, whoever wrote this story, I'm sorry. Who hurt you? Because someone did, and someone's name is Linux. Because I'd like to point out, this is going to be a little bit of a pedantic, really deep cut. But for those of you that, and Josh, I think you might even be in this group because the way that you read the word Debian, you went like, Debian? Like, what am I looking at? That is a Linux distro. That is a Linux operating system distro. It's so for those outside of the know, Linux is this open-based operating system run mainly by people that don't like Windows or don't like Mac or just want to be different or cool. Air quotes.
I mean, it does have its uses.
It does.
It does make coding surprisingly easy.
Yes. And, it's got the benefit of, you really do have a deeper understanding of how the machine actually does things once you've learned it. That being said, though, for someone's big, scary reveal moment at the beginning of things going downhill, my computer crashed, and then it opened up into a Linux operating system window.
Well, not his computer, his phone.
His phone, yeah,
that's true. His phone opened up into a Linux operating system, which I don't know how that happened.
No.
That is some major hacking.
But my main question there being, who hurt you? Did you run Linux for a month and really hate it? It's just a deep cut. It's weird.
Did somebody put you on the worst version of Linux and expect you to like it? I know that happened to me. I can relate.
Dear listener, if you are like me sitting here and just politely watching the back and forth of two computer nerds going off about their bad experiences with Linux and you feel like you're left out, you're not alone. You're here with me. I have never operated Linux before, and most of this is going over my head.
But it's such a cute little penguin. Don't hate the Club Penguin logo.
Most of this story reads more like a technical manual for how to be mad at your computer than anything.
Well, one thing that first off, right, if a computer is unplugging its wires, it's then making itself non-operational, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no wire inside of a computer that could run out long enough to snake out and pull a heart out of a dog.
If we're talking like the power cable, then yes, there are some long IEC or like the standard power cable that would go into a tower.
Yeah, like
or
30-footers.
Yeah, you could get like a 30-foot cable that could do that. But like in terms of inside the computer, no.
Yeah, no, they're all like 4 foot, 5 foot.
If that.
No, I'm sorry, like a foot.
Yeah, you don't. There are some that are a bit longer because they have to wrap around the whole case and stuff, and But yeah, majority are no more than 2, maybe 3 feet.
I have also got a question about dog anatomy, right? So you cut off a dog's head.
And then you can see the beating heart.
You can see the beating heart.
I thought that'd be blocked by the lungs.
The rib cage is open, though. Remember, it said the rib cage was
No,
open?
that was the cat of the Can I Has Cheeseburger,
you're
Please?
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, this one reached in through the neck cavity, which now, keep in mind, I'm not an anatomy expert.
Maybe you could see the top part of it.
Now, if you cut off my head from here.
But this isn't a human, this is a dog. Anatomy a bit different,
I know, I just feel like there's a lot of things blocking the way from my heart because it's one of the most protected parts of the human body because it's one of the most essential parts.
Well, yeah, and you cut off a head. This is so weird to be saying out loud, but like you cut off a head and it's like lots of muscle and you've got the esophagus and the trachea and the spinal column.
Well,
there's a lot of dense stuff there.
The only thing that I can think is...
Cut by a CD-ROM.
Yes. Indeed. Very sharp CD-ROM.
Yes. Or very fast, or both.
So yeah, no, it would be dang near impossible. Again, we've talked about this.
Right.
Perspective is not the strong suit of a creepypasta.
I'm just stuck here that it was like, it didn't cut my dog clean in half. Now, that would have been a shot, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it had cut off my dog's, like, chest cavity perfectly so that...
Or, did indeed, like, embed down through, go all the way and, like, it fell, like...
Mortal Kombat style. Yeah. Right. Now.
Cracked open like a pistachio.
Now, listen, author, if you're listening to this and you're listening to those of us berate your story, we're not berating you.
This is a tough audience.
Yeah.
This is a tough crowd you've got working with.
We're just giving you some helpful suggestions, such as number 1.
Less computers.
Make
infinitesimally less computers.
I feel like 25 computers is still a threat and a large amount of computers to buy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you wanted to be like 250 computers.
That's still an obscene amount of
It
computers.
isn't, which I think would add to the creepy. Because like 25, that's just your typical repair shop guy. He has 25 computers laying around. No, single guy in a flat doesn't have 250 computers.
Well, and 25 really will capture the aggression and the violence that you're looking for. There's actually, I can't believe I'm using this as source material, but there is an episode of the old animated Ninja Turtles that you need to go watch. Where there's this paranormal entity that possesses electricity and takes over, and it takes over like a single server rack and like a Hoover vacuum, and those two things alone are enough to keep 4 very skilled, very ninjutsu turtles very occupied. Go check it out.
Right. So obviously, if it can
if it can keep the 4 artists named turtles busy, then one random guy that has Linux on his iPhone shouldn't be a problem.
Now, my last, I guess, point here is that 2 points. My second point here is that you've got too many threats, right? So like you need to scale down the amount that's inside of it.
Who's the leader of the computers? Is it the one computer who's cutting off heads? Is it the server rack?
Is it all acting as one organism? That's fine. That's whatever you want it to be. But you've just got, in such a short amount of time, you've killed 2 neighbors and a dog, and you've introduced a dead troll and a dead cat.
And a server rack that's doing something.
Right. Yes. There's just a lot of stuff, right?
And the motherboards.
For such a short period of time, you need to
circuit boards.
To cut down the number of threats and spread it out and let the tension rise. And my third point is you need to get your tense correct, because you're writing this in past first-person tense.
But you
die at the end. Is this a ghost? Is this a ghost? You walked into a house and the police are like, wow, this house burnt down and has like all sorts of computer chips embedded in the wall.
Right. Part of the story is the house burning down. I think the man just bought a bunch of computers, tried to plug them all in, and caught his house on fire.
And then tried to financially recompensate by
writing the story.
Yeah.
No. I think he died. I think this is his version of events as he's talking.
He possessed the computer, and he's typing out so that the people will be scared of possessed computers. If you saw me in my true form,
you would not believe. Or
you wouldn't believe how many
of heaven, and he's died due to just stupidity, and he's trying to convince St. Peter that he's been through a traumatic event.
Look,
it was terrible.
Sure, I plugged in 25,500 computers, but then they became possessed by Satan, and you hate that guy.
And he attacked me with memes.
I can has cheeseburger is confirmed.
Can I has heart, please? It's now my. If we make T-shirts, I want that as a T-shirt. Is just can I has heart, please?
Yes.
Oh man, I will rate this a 3 based on sheer amount of computers.
An overwhelming godsmack of computers.
Yeah, and the fact that yes, house fire confirmed. You done shorted your fuse box and set your house on fire.
The fact that the person had 25,500 outlets in his house.
Yeah,
he had walls. He had walls of just nothing but outlets.
I want that outlet wall. Like that would each attached to its own breaker. Oh, that would be beautiful.
Oh, Bradley just heard that story and he was like,
I want that for my house.
Like, is this house up for sale now?
You want?
But
be careful about all that Alienware, though.
Oh, yeah.
All that Alienware, all that Dell.
Beware of the lizard computer.
Beware of the Abenaki operating system, because it will come in and then make your computers more sophisticated, but then also make a
But also turn into humans occasionally.
But also turn into your computer to rule them with a tyrannical fist. Yeah. So I rate this lots of threats. Lots of threats. Lots of threats. This has the sheer overwhelming scale that I feel like Silent the Killer had, where it was just...
Yeah.
You didn't actually think about the real world consequences of killing 80 people in a hospital slowly, piece by piece, while you wander from room to room singing. Yeah. You didn't actually think about what that would look like in the real world. It just has that same level of like overwhelming scope. So I'm putting it down to a 2. It's like it's hard for me to get into the story because it's just like so much like
sheer massive.
It's like you open up a closet and 25,500 computers come spilling out of the closet.
I likewise am going to give this a 2, but I am going to put in the very, very crucial footnote that as we are seeking stories that are candidates for a rewrite, this is probably the strongest candidate that I've seen.
This is definitely this episode's rewrite.
Yeah, this is a rewrite for episode 4.
I love this story. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Like with a little bit of focus, a little bit of emphasis on stakes, and then I think first person present tense for the practical reasons, but also for like give us some of what you're thinking,
give us some
what you're
tension.
Feeling.
You didn't build tension. It was just
Put me in the eyes of the person experiencing this, and genuinely, especially with my work in IT, I might actually wet myself just a little.
Or maybe rewrite the story entirely from the angle of you're an IT specialist, but your mom bought 25,500 computers and she needs you to go through them all to see what's usable and what's not.
That is believable.
I can't even picture I can't picture 25,000 computers. I can't even picture 25,000 service tickets in a stack. I can't. There's not a picture in my mind.
It's just books and books and books.
Just piled to the ceiling everywhere.
Here, let me just for research sake, let me see if I can actually get signed into our service desk at the college so I can see
This is so self-indulgent.
and
I'm here for all of it.
I'm sorry. I'm just curious now because you brought up service tickets. So let me just real quick take up everybody's time.
Just imagine you work at Best Buy one day. And somebody comes in with just like a U-Haul trailer, and and they just like open up the back of the U-Haul trailer, and they're like, "Fix this, Nerd Squad."
So I will point out, we got a new ticketing system around March of this year, and we are currently at 32,736 tickets. That we have received as an IT department since March.
And processed. That's not just open, right?
No, not all of those.
No, they're
open.
all open. Bradley's
really
just
bad at your job.
No, because they numbered the tickets, and so 32,736 was the latest ticket that I've gotten to come through my email. So yeah. I mean, that's a lot of tickets, but you're talking across 3 campuses. And you know what? Now that I say that, because I'm on one campus, as all 3, maybe we come close to that 25,000, maybe. But yeah, no, rolling up to Best Buy,
Bro.
Or just like one of those mall kiosk shops where it's like,
hey, I have some laptops for you. Yeah, I have some laptops for you to look at. Yeah, sure. Is this them here? Well, this is the first load, and it's like a stack of 100.
Okay, look.
This is a sample.
These were all the strongest computers that I bought.
It only gets worse for me.
It only gets worse from here.
The rest are Linux.
Now, I do want to state that at least Mac does not cooperate in corruption because all the Windows had that error message that flashed
But
through.
not the Linux.
Or the Macs. Yeah, they're uncorruptible.
Yeah, apparently.
Unpossessable.
Well, actually, if we're being fair...
Because it was the ghost of Bill Gates trying to build his one world government out of his robo-dog.
I don't think Windows or Linux can blue screen. If I'm being fair, that is a specific Windows.
But what a weirdly specific detail to include. Did he show this to like a more techie friend and they're like, It wouldn't happen.
It's not believable.
Yeah, not Linux.
believable.
Have you ever seen a Mac blue screen before?
They don't blue screen. They just shut off and never turn on again, bro. That's Mac for you. You run it for a year, it shuts off, and it just don't turn on no more.
Okay.
So I'm gonna correct the initial question.
I don't know.
That's the second time you've done a snort, and I felt like vomiting, and that's not. And I'm not the one who has the headphones on.
Well, see, I'm trying to do that.
That is
Like,
like
yeah,
that. Why? Why are you doing that?
Before the person spits like that, like older gentleman.
Yes, I understand why you're trying to.
If you keep this up, I'm going to buy you a spittoon.
I will wear it upon my head.
Well, someone's been playing some West of Loathing.
Well, I feel as though we've thrown enough angry, oddly specific darts into this particular story, and I think that we should move on.
Yeah.
Really? Because I have like 40 more notes I could go
know.
through.
I do too.
Lay us on this question here, Stephen.
Yes, and I'm pulling this from memory because right down to the username, there's nothing about this that I could ever possibly forget. User Zark Muckerberg 248. Just let that sink in.
I almost blacked out there for a second.
Side note: any bets on the Zuckerberg Musk fight? Do you guys know about this?
No.
I know a little bit. I don't know enough to.
They're going to have a boxing match, I believe, or an MMA fight on.
Okay, so I knew that a challenge was laid down. I didn't know if anybody had accepted.
It is unconfirmed, but interested and involved parties have said that both sides are very serious about it. There's very little joking going on.
So Lizard Man Zuckerberg versus.
Yes.
He's the most lizard man ever.
Yes.
That man needs to go drink some more human blood because his form's slipping.
He's morphing back.
Anyway. Zucker juice.
So anyway, Zark Muckerberg asks, if I were to go and do a solo ghost hunt at Alcatraz, and I could only bring the clothes on my back and one ghost hunting tool, and I had to survive the night, what would I bring?
Salt.
A blanket, because you're gonna get cold. If you could bring two things, a blanket and a pillow. Who's died on a ghost hunt? What? Name one person who has ever died on a ghost hunt who's died from ghosts. People are still trying to prove that ghosts are real. If there was a footage of a man getting ripped apart by a ghost hunting would be way more accepted. What do you mean, survive a ghost hunt? You gotta worry about the elements. Bring water. I don't know if you want to survive. If surviving's your goal. Bring a protein bar. But why are you over here worried about surviving a ghost hunt? A solo ghost hunting expedition? What, do you just have one ticket and one night and none of your friends were like, oh yeah, I can go? What kind of life are you living?
Well, my answer seems dumb now.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Spoops Podcast.
So yeah, let's.
Okay, wait.
I was gonna say I'll wrap us up as you get ready for that. AI.
Possessed computers, lizard people, Roblox. What was our first story?
The Tales.
Oh yeah.
So a couple of things to wrap up. First off, please go to TheSpoopsPod.com to go find just everything about us and everything about this delightful podcast that we're creating here. Also, we're on Facebook. We'll eventually go to other social media platforms when, we feel competent and skilled enough to do so. We're on Facebook and YouTube. YouTube's totally a social media platform. Well, inside of the meantime that you are doing that, you need to do some podcast viewing parties, right? Let us know. You can email us at TheSpoopsPod@gmail.com or by going onto our Facebook and leaving a message to us. And go ahead and let us know if you're having a party of 4 or more and you're going to have a watching party so that we can do one. I'm so excited to do our first personal greeting. You know what? For that first personal greeting, there will be a patina of love and care that you will not hear in any other ones later. And that it will be just a gift for you. So hop on that right now. And also, as soon as we hit 50 listens, you guys can go ahead and suggest a story for us to read. So make sure that you share this with your friends, share this with your families, share this with that strange guy who sits across from you on the bus, share this with your ex. I don't care. Share us so that we can bring our gift of failed horror to the world. Our church secretary actually tried to listen to a podcast.
Our podcast? Mm-hmm. Oh, poor her.
Oh, lovely.
She said, I don't think I get the point of it.
That is the point.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready for this, Josh?
Oh, it didn't fail on you this time?
No, it didn't fail. We're done.
It's because you pushed on it. It felt pressured.
Mr. Magic Fingers over here.
Yeah. So this one is called The Lizard's Game.
Okay, good. So same story and everything. Okay, begale me.
Danny loved playing Roblox on his computer. He had many friends online and enjoyed exploring different worlds and games. He especially liked the ones that involved horror and mystery, like Ghost Hunt or the Haunted Elevator. One day he received a message from one of his friends, TailsFan99. It said, "Hey, I found a new game that you might like. It's called The Lizard's Game. It's super scary and fun. Here's the link." And it was https://www.roblox.com/games/666/the-lizards-game. Danny was curious and clicked on the link.
It generated like a real link.
It's beautiful.
Okay, sorry.
It's so good.
Danny was curious and clicked on the link. He was taken to a game page that looked very strange. The background was black and the title was written in red letters that dripped like blood. The description said, "Welcome to the Lizard's Game, a game where you have to survive the night in a haunted mansion full of possessed computers and lizard people. Do you have what it takes to escape, or will you become one of them?" One of the lizard people or one of the computers? How does that work?
You too can be an Alienware.
They're one and the same!
We always thought it was weird that their code name was Anaki.
Danny felt a chill run down his spine, but he also was excited. He loved a good challenge, and he wanted to see what this game was about. He clicked on the play button and entered the game. He found himself in a dark hallway with wooden walls and floors. He had a flashlight in his hand and a backpack on his back. He looked around and saw several doors leading to different rooms. He also saw a staircase that went up and down. He decided to go upstairs first and see what was there. He walked up the stairs and opened the first door he saw. It was a bedroom with a large bed, a dresser, a closet, and a computer desk. He walked over to the computer and turned it on. He expected to see the usual Roblox interface, but instead he saw something else. The screen was filled with static and distorted images of lizard people. They had green scales, yellow eyes, sharp teeth, and long tails. They were hissing and growling at him. That's quite impressive for an image.
Maybe it was the static from the screen. Their hissing sounded a lot like...
That is scary. Danny felt a surge of fear and quickly turned off the computer. He backed away from the desk and heard a loud thud behind him. He turned around and saw that the closet door had opened by itself. He shone his flashlight inside and saw more lizard people crawling out of the closet.
That was a complicated gag that was like, oh man, lizard people, I gotta make sure I roll up my pants so they don't go up my pant leg, but realized that you couldn't see it. And then I kicked over my water bottle.
They were coming towards him, reaching out their claws and snapping their jaws. Danny screamed and ran out of the room, slamming the door behind him. He ran down the hallway looking for another way out. He saw another door at the end of the hall and opened it. It was a bathroom with a sink, a toilet, a shower, and a mirror. He ran inside and locked the door. Behind him, he hoped that the lizard people wouldn't be able to get in here. He found their weakness: locks. He looked around the bathroom and saw something that made him gasp. In the mirror, he saw his own reflection, but it was changing. His skin was turning green, his eyes were turning yellow, his teeth were growing sharper, or getting filed, and his hair was falling out. He felt a pain in his back as something started to grow out of it. It was a tail. He realized that he was becoming one of them. He had become a lizard person. He screamed again, but this time it sounded more like a hiss. He grabbed his head with his hands, which were now claws. He felt his mind slipping away, replaced by animal instincts. He wanted to hunt, to kill, to eat. He wanted to play the lizard's game. The end.